Salut tout le monde! Welcome back to Unintentionally Frenchified. I am very excited to be doing this video today because I'm going to be talking to you guys about the 7 things that have really surprised me as it started to get warmer here in Montreal. And I feel like the winter was long, and when I say that, I am very aware that we arrived in January, so we didn't even do like potentially how cold it can get in October or November or December, but the winter did feel long. And so as it's starting to get nice out, it is absolutely not summer yet. As you can see, like I'm not dressed like it's that nice, but the weather's fluctuating. We had like a 25 degrees Celsius weekend, and then it kind of falls back down to like 5 or 10. And then we have a day where it jumps to 20 degrees Celsius and then it falls back down. So it's not summer yet, but it is getting warm. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the 7 things that really surprised my husband and I that we weren't expecting as Montreal is starting to get warm. And I want to know from you guys, is this Canadian behavior? Is it, I don't know, Quebec behavior? Is it just North America and I forget? But you guys are gonna let me know in the comments below. Before I jump into those 7 things though, I did a video recently about the different vocabulary words between France and Quebec and how, you know, this is kind of, it's not the same as relearning a whole new language, but you definitely have to adjust your ear to it. My Quebecois colleagues have been really helpful in explaining different vocabulary and different phrases that I don't understand. If you're moving to a different country, no matter what the situation is, it's already pretty intense, right? Like this is tough. But when you don't know the language, it adds an extra dimension that makes it even more difficult. And as like we've spent now 4 or 5 months here in Montreal, I'm really starting to feel settled in and I'm really starting to feel at home. But in France, guys, it took me years, and honestly, I mean years, to feel fully settled down because learning the language is just fundamental to really feeling settled and at home in a country. I don't think I wouldn't say I regret that I knew so little French going to France, because I don't really regret any way that my life turned out and the experiences I had, but I hesitate to say that if I had the chance to redo it again, that I would do it in the exact same way again. So Lingoda is all about easing that stress, helping you get past those communication issues that you're gonna have so that you can just fully enjoy this new adventure. And if you haven't heard of it before, Lingoda has something called the language sprints. And these are really cool sprints where you're going to commit to a certain number of classes per month for 2 months. So it's either 15 classes per month or 30 classes per month over the course of 60 days. And when you commit to those classes, as long as you show up at every class that you commit to, you actually end up getting cash back. In those classes, you get to really be taught and also interact with people who are going to be speaking in the native language that you're going to have in your new country. And so it really does give you an extra step up, an extra preparation step before you get there. And while the cashback is amazing, like that's an amazing advantage to this program, it's not just about the cashback. It's really about making you feel comfortable and as comfortable as you can before you arrive in that new country. Make you feel more settled, more at home. I'm not sure, and I'm saying this having just experienced it again, I'm not sure that you can put a price on feeling more at home and helping through that transition period when you're actually in it. You know, when you're in the thick of transitioning, it's a bit like when you just had a baby and you've got a newborn and you'll do anything for sleep. There's sometimes moments where like, I will do anything to feel settled in. So you have nothing to lose. Go check out Lingoda. I put everything in the YouTube description below, and I also put a discount code that will get you 20 euros off your registration fee. So check that out. And otherwise, let's jump into those 7 things that have surprised me since getting to Montreal. C'est parti. First, when it starts to get warm, the amount of people that seem to like pop out of the cracks here is astronomical. Like there are times where I'm like, where were all of these people hiding during winter? Like I was not expecting there to be so many people, because in winter, you know, like the parks are empty, the benches are free. Like you walk down the street and you barely ever really need to like move out of the way. Like there didn't seem to be like a wait for most things. Like you just feel like there are less people. And then it starts to get warm and people are just like oozing out of the cracks. And you're like, oh my gosh, like the city seems to like be like coming to life. And also everybody is in such a good mood. Like I already feel like Montreal is a very jolly place. Like people tend to be like very warm, even if I shouldn't say that when it's cold, but they're welcoming and they're warm and they're pretty happy and smiley. And now that the sun is coming, now I'm like, wow, I did not know we could get to another level of kindness and smiliness and happiness, but everybody just seems to be like driven by the same like sun that has come out and warmed them up. And everybody is just in like a fabulous mood. There are so many more people and everybody is happy. We live next to a huge park in Montreal, and I wasn't surprised like in April when we got a weekend where it was like 25 degrees Celsius. I think that's like in the 70s. So a beautiful weekend in April that the park was packed on the weekend. I mean, I want to be out there in the park too with a picnic enjoying the sun. But what has surprised me is the amount of people that take advantage of the nice days during the week. Like I'm walking home around like 4:30 or 5 and I walk past the park and the place is packed. Like you see parents who are there after work, you see kids who are coming after school, you see like students, like university students that are coming like after classes. There is just collectively an actual time where people are taking advantage of the nice weather between getting done with their daily activities and before the whole like nighttime routine starts. That is so different if you've ever lived in Paris and worked in Paris. The pace and the fact that everyone finishes later, there's not necessarily this time to enjoy. Maybe if you are younger or if you don't have kids, you have more of an opportunity, but like definitely you don't see like parents with their kids. And we were so surprised to see how everybody just enjoys the weather. Is it because people want to take advantage because it doesn't stay that nice for long? Or is it because we really do have this like habit here of having a moment after work that's not necessarily jumping into like the nighttime routine? Basically, by the time that it is 10 degrees Celsius outside, you start to see people in shorts here. I was not expecting this. By the time it hits 20 degrees, people are absolutely in bikinis. I think what you wear when it's quote unquote warm out for you is very relative to what you know. So I wasn't that surprised that people might be like undressing a bit different than some other countries, but I wasn't expecting this in Montreal specifically because it gets hot here. Like it gets 35 degrees in summer and it's really warm. And so what people here consider warm, I don't think yet is 20 degrees. And maybe it's because you live such a long winter that like anything above 0 degrees at that point feels really comfortable. Like I do understand why people are outside a lot more, even if it's not that beautiful yet, because you're taking an advantage of the time to just be outside where you're not in like 7 layers of clothing. But the fact that there are actually people in the park in a bikini at 20 degrees, I don't feel like 20 degrees is considered hot here. And there was a lot of people and we see it all the time. I mean, really above 0 degrees, and you can be sure to see somebody if it's like, you know, March, April in shorts when you walk down the street. The amount of bikes here has been surprising. I had heard Montreal was a bike town and I was looking forward to that because I like taking my bike. And when I say that like very like softly because I like taking an electric bike with Eleanor on the back. It's not exactly the same thing as I'm a biker, but I do like taking my bike and I did a lot in Paris. And here, because there is so much snow, and because I'm not used to it yet, I couldn't really make out the bike lanes. And obviously when it's like, there are definitely hardcore bikers here who bike all through winter and all through the ice, but there's a lot of people now that you can see that are more like summertime, springtime, fall time bikers, and they don't in winter. Plus the Bisous bikes are out now, which are like the Véli, but like the Véli bikes in Paris, where you have your card and you just go and you grab one and then you drop it off wherever you're ending and wherever you want to go. So those are now here too. So you've got a lot of people on Bisous bikes, but I wasn't expecting it to be like there to be so many bikes and to be so many bikers. And yeah, there's a huge town. There's so many bike lanes and you have to be really careful where you step, which is similar to Paris. Because if you don't know yet where all the bike lanes are and what to expect, you can find yourself stepping in the wrong place. But very quickly, in the month of April, we have seen the amount of bikers increase massively. The amount of terraces have been a really big surprise. So in winter, there aren't that many terraces here, obviously, because absolutely nobody's gonna sit outside and eat. So you don't see, I mean, if they do already exist, there's just nothing on the terrace. So I knew during summer there'd be chairs and stuff on the pre-existing terraces that you can see in winter. But what surprised me was the amount of terraces that they're actually constructing for summer. So it reminds me a lot of Paris during COVID. They let a lot of the restaurants construct like wooden terraces and put them in front of the restaurants and take up parking spaces and some car lanes. Paris is very much like France has a terrace culture, and people love to eat outside, and people eat outside all year long in Paris. Obviously it's, you know, it's a lot milder, but the terraces are heated. People sit outside all the time, and you generally like see the same thing in winter as you do in summer. They're packed. Here, it seems to be different because it seems like there aren't that many in winter because nobody would want to eat outside. But then when summer comes, they create them and then take them down, I guess I would assume, as it gets to be like fall, winter. So looking forward to seeing that. But we have seen, at least in the last like week and a half, we've seen 7 different ones being like set up in our neighborhood. So we're kind of looking forward to being able to eat outside more than we thought. So the summer alleyways are the best when you have kids. This is very kids related, but the kids, when it gets nice, we've had 2 really nice weekends in April, are like popping out from everywhere. Everybody's outside. They're playing soccer in the alleyways. They've got chalk. They've got bubbles. They're running to like someone's backyard to jump on the trampoline, and then they go somewhere else because they know they'll get cookies, and then they go somewhere else, you know, to do another activity. And you've got all the parents outside, and they're all like having a drink or grilling burgers or chatting, and it's such a community feel, and it's in such kind of like a safe way because we don't live in like one of the green alleyways, which I understand those in Montreal are like alleys that are absolutely blocked off so the cars can't come. We can still have cars. So there's always parents outside kind of making sure that if there is a car that comes, and so far what I've noticed is cars come into the alleyways very slow. So it's not 100% safe in that aspect. You've got to be there, but it seems like such a great, like, yeah, way for your kids to all play with everyone else in the neighborhood without being like outside in front of the street. And it reminds me a lot of kind of the community feeling I had growing up in the Midwest in a subdivision where, you know, we were all kind of doing the same thing. So that has been amazing. And then finally, the last thing, which is also kid related, but we're starting to realize as it's getting nicer that there are so many activities, like summer activities and summer festivals and things being organized and offered that are completely free. And it's amazing to see all of the different things that are organized by the city of Montreal and that are funded by the city of Montreal so that all residents of Montreal and their families can really benefit, take part in, appreciate. I mean, even when we came here, this isn't necessarily a summer activity, but I was even surprised that like the library cards are completely free and all the activities that come with the library. Like it's not just the library card, but all the activities that they organize on Saturdays and the special reading times and the puppets that come in. I mean, everything is funded. I'd heard that there are more activities, but I was expecting it to be something where you needed to decide more because everything had a price, and it feels like the festivals and the things they put on and the activities are often for residents already funded. So that has been really cool. All right, everyone. So you have kind of heard what is surprising us, what's interesting, what we're excited about as things start to get warm, knowing that this is still spring. I can't wait to hear what you guys say in the comments. If you were surprised about the same things, if you agree, disagree. Don't forget to check out Lingoda. I put everything in the YouTube description below, so you've got that discount code and you've got the link so you can find out more information. And I will see everybody very soon. Bisous!